Hello and welcome to another fresh, insightful edition of NAFDAC and Your Health. This is where we bring you weekly dose of information about NAFDAC's continuous fight in safeguarding the health of the nation. My name is Tosin Omolaja. On the program today, we join the world in marking the World Antibiotics Awareness Week, a time set aside to remind the world of the grave danger of misusing and overusing antibiotics.
As part of the strategy to combat antimicrobial resistance globally, a week has already been declared by UN through the major bodies, the tripartite body of WHO, then Food and FAO, that's the Food and Agri Organization, and then the OIE, that's the World Organization for Animal Health. So a week has been set aside in November, 18 to 24 of every November is set aside as a World Antimicrobial Awareness Week. That's WOW. So this week is very, very important. The tripartite are driving the tripartite, that's the FAO, the WHO, and OIE are driving, and then all stakeholders have to come around, enlighten the global community on the need for prudent and responsible use of antimicrobial in order to prevent antimicrobial resistance. So this year's World Antimicrobial Awareness Week has a theme. The theme for this year is antimicrobials, handle with care. So if you handle antimicrobial with care, definitely you will prevent, eliminate, and mitigate the issue of antimicrobial resistance.
There have been a lot of conversations in the scientific world about whether the dangers posed by antimicrobial resistance might not be the trigger for the next pandemic, which some argue might even be more catastrophic than COVID-19.
Many countries are doing away with even antibiotics in veterinary medicine. People go and buy human drugs from chemists, from pharmacists, and concoct it to give to their poultry, to give to their livestock. And we think the more we add, the better. So we are now going above the level, the permissible level, despite the fact that it's not good at any level now. Because when I eat a poultry, chicken with antibiotics, I'm already taking the antibiotics. And when I keep eating the chicken with antibiotics, I'm eating it every day. I'm taking in antibiotics every day at small levels, very low levels. And if I have infection, the microbes, we get used to that low petting, I will call it petting levels. You are petting them. And when you pet them for so long, they develop resistance. They develop a protein coat around them. So it doesn't affect them when you now use the right level. That is what is called, or part of what is called antimicrobial resistance. So when you now have infection and you now use the right level, it doesn't work. And then the person may die. That is why it is extremely important to control first the level of antibiotics permissible in livestock until we get to a point where we do away with it completely.
The immense severity of the effects of antimicrobial resistance make this special time set aside to draw attention to it even more essential.
It's not only antibiotics that becomes resistant. That it's not only bacteria that become resistant to antibiotics. All antimicrobials, including antiparasites, antivirus, antifungal, all of them have the tendencies of becoming resistant to their medicines that we use in treating these illnesses. Because we've seen cases whereby somebody just have a slight cut, the slight cut gets infected, and they try, medical officials tries to treat this particular patient for several months. This wound is not getting healed. It's been infected with a resistant strain, and they've been using all sort of antibiotics on this particular patient, And eventually this man died. That was just from a cut. So it can lead to devastating effects. Then you could even spread this disease from one person to another, because antimicrobials are supposed to help us out when we have issues with our health. When we have bacterial infection, we have fungal infection, we have virus infection. They're supposed to be our last resort to, help us out of the sickness. Now imagine that we have overused and misused these agents. So as at the time that we're going to be needing them the more, they are not working there for us. We have this disease, it is curable, but the drugs are not working. And some people like to tell me that, we have so much of fake drugs in our society. No. NAFDAC is doing a lot to make sure we have, effective drug in circulation. That we are making sure. So if you are buying a drug that is supposed to treat a particular disease and it is not working, you might have to start asking yourself so many questions. What have I been doing with this particular drug in the past? Have I been misusing them? Have I been handling them inappropriately? Have I been discarding them anyhow? Because we found out that there are lots of other factors that could also still perpetuate this antimicrobial resistance, because it is not a standalone thing that whatever I take alone. What the environment, the animal in the environment, and we in the environment interact together. So the three of us have this level of interaction that will, either we like it or not, none of us is an island.
The battle to extinguish the dangers posed by antimicrobial resistance is a threefold fight that would require not just responsible use of these medicines, but also serious behavioral change.
We should be fighting antimicrobial resistance in a One Health approach. If a tripod stands with one leg, it falls. If a tripod stands with two legs, it falls. But when a tripod stands with its three legs strongly, firmly on the ground, then it stands and it can withstand anything. You can put things on it. It can, withstand all sorts of stress that it could put at a tripod. So if we are handling antimicrobial resistance alone from the human perspective, controlling what we take, being responsible with the antimicrobial use, then we have still not done enough. We still have to look at our environment and look at the veterinary sector. You and I want to discard of our leftovers of antimicrobials in the homes, and we just throw them in the refuse dump, or we throw them anywhere outside. It rains, or water pours on anything. It finds its way into the water bodies. It gets into the animals in the water body. Those animals, the fishes, the crabs, the crayfish and all that, they are harvested and they are brought back to our table for us to eat with the drugs in them. Not to talk of what farmers actually give them. We are talking about what comes from the environment. The same thing with the plants. It rains, the drugs are in the environment, it goes into the farms where we have our vegetables, and of course, it's the plants uptakes these antimicrobials. It ends up on our table, and we are taking antimicrobials from so many areas, from so many ways, in so many ways that we cannot even imagine. So everybody needs to come together, and that's why the second theme for the year is united to preserve antimicrobial. It is the responsibility of you and I that we all have to know that from this day forward, you and I have to handle and preserve antimicrobials with care.
We'll go on a short break. Don't go away.
Come inside, oh. Tayo. Abeg, come sit down. Sit down.
Wait, Mama Junior and Junior now. Mama the mama.
Junior, quick. Come go buy alcohol for your uncle for Antimicrobial shop.
No. Go sit down, Junior. No, now, bros. What do you want to do so? You don't know, say, if you send Junior to go buy alcohol like this, small time now, AI go begin enter am. Himself go want to drink alcohol for this in small picking age. Ha! Bros, abeg, give me the money. Make I go buy am by myself.
I been no know.
Wait, I tell you before.
NAFDAC talk say alcohol na no for pikin when never reach 18 years.
I not go send out that kind of message again.
Yes, so my people. Na me, you, parent, Guardians, marketers and even retailers sef suppose stop small pikin dem make dem no dey drink alcohol for dis we community o. Join us today. Na Distillers and Blenders Association of Nigeria, NAFDAC and Federal Ministry of Health bring una dis message o.
You're welcome back. You're still watching NAFDAC and your health. NAFDAC employs all mediums to inform and educate the general public, and indeed animal farmers, on the proper ways to breed their animals to eliminate the risks that the misuse of antibiotics and other forms of antimicrobial drugs. As part of the agency's public enlightenment drive and collaborations with other international institutions and organizations, fellows of the Fleming Fund Fellowship share insights on subjects.
Every year in November, the international community comes together to raise awareness on the growing problem of AMR. So what is AMR? Antimicrobial resistance happens when microorganisms change when they are exposed to antimicrobials. Microorganisms that develop antimicrobial resistance are sometimes referred to as superbugs. Antibiotics play a critical role in the treatment of diseases. Their use is essential to protect both human and animal health.
What are antimicrobial drugs? Antimicrobial drugs are chemical substances of natural or synthetic origin that suppresses the growth of or destroy microorganisms including bacteria, fungi, helminths, protozoa, and viruses. Examples include antibiotics, antifungals, antiprotozoa, and antiviral drugs. Since their discovery, antibiotics have served as the cornerstone of modern medicine. However, the persistent overuse and misuse of these drugs in human and animal health have encouraged the emergence and spread of antibiotics resistance, which occurs when microbes such as mycobacteria become resistant to drugs that are used to treat them.
That means the germs are not killed and they continue to grow. The global emergency of antimicrobial resistance, AMR, is posing a threat to human health. Putting resources into the containment of antimicrobial resistance, including surveillance, is one of the highest yield investments a country like Nigeria can make to mitigate its impact. Nigeria has published the National Action Plan on Antimicrobial Resistance and is currently strengthening its national antimicrobial resistance surveillance system.
If you rarely take antimicrobials, if you said so, you can still be infected with a resistant strain. So what are the precautions to be taken? Avoid infections by washing your hands properly and regularly, preparing our food hygienically, practicing safe sex, keeping your vaccination up to date, etc. We should also carry out laboratory analysis when we are sick to ascertain which antimicrobial is appropriate. We should also limit contact with others when we are sick. Mind you, not all infections are treatable with antibiotics or any of the antimicrobials. Antibiotics don't cure viruses like cold and flu. Antibiotics are not always the answer, so do not demand for antibiotics if your healthcare professional says you don't need them. Only take antibiotics prescribed to you and do not share leftovers with your family and friends. Always seek the advice of qualified healthcare professional when taking antibiotics. Avoid purchase of antimicrobials or antibiotics from hawkers and unregistered drug outlets.
Studies in Nigeria have shown that meat of animal origin and eggs contain residues of antimicrobial agents. Also, bacteria from raw meat and ready-to-eat meat products have shown resistance to multiple antibiotics. When animals are treated with antibiotics and animal waste is used as manure or not properly disposed, it might affect the crops or vegetables we eat. Now, what is the way forward? Animal owners should avoid buying antibiotics without prescription by the veterinarian. Ensure that animals complete the full dose of antibiotics prescribed by a veterinarian. Insist on lab tests before the use of antibiotics or before the prescription of antibiotics. Observe withdrawal period before selling animal products or before slaughter. Dispose animal waste properly and use antimicrobials prudently. The future of antibiotics depends on you and me.
Beyond public enlightenment, the agency also monitors the activities of distributors and sellers of animal medicines, as well as feed mills, to ensure that ingredients used in animal food and medicine do not contain elements that may promote cases of antimicrobial resistance.
We do routine checks sometimes in 2 months, sometimes 3 months. We do routine checks, and when we are coming for routine checks, we don't inform the company that we are coming for routine checks. We want to see them in their own color. We look out for the products, the cold chain, vaccines are cold chain, to see if they are in conformance with the specification and standard. So we look at for cold chain, we ask questions, how do you distribute these products to your customers? We want to see if they have followed the train without any breakage along the line.
I think the NAFDAC has been of a great help to us, especially in the area of the vaccine and even the pharmaceutical. Anytime we receive our vaccine, they put it on hold. They have to come and check the vaccine, give us guideline how to maintain it. Every time we receive vaccine, they will put the vaccine on hold. They will now come check the vaccine where they are okay before we start selling it. It's after they're satisfied that the vaccines we receive from our supplier are okay, they now say, okay, go ahead, we distribute it to your distributor. So with that, it has helped a lot.
Once production starts, they must have a way of doing in-process checks too. So we want to know what are the in-process quality measures put in place during production. That is also important. Then after the production, what are the checks put in place? What are the analyses done on the final product? Once we look at all these processes and it meets international standards, because there is a standard for each of the process. So once it meets the standards, we draw samples and take to the lab for laboratory analysis.
In addition to the routine checks on companies that deal in animal feeds and vaccines, which have been of great value in NAFDAC's effort at fighting the menace of antimicrobial resistance, the agency also takes some other collaborative and definitive steps.
The agency is ensuring that the practice regulators are equally working with us so that we don't have issue of wrong prescription, wrong uses, and all the likes. And we are equally working with practice regulators to ensure the use of other preventive measures like biosecurity to ensure that infection on farms are put under check and many animals are actually produced under hygienic condition, strictly good agricultural practice be implemented.
In addition to all this, NAFDAC has recently banned the use of antibiotics as growth agents in animal production. The animal feed additives that are banned cut across 4 broad categories, and the agency has also, through in-depth research, outlined alternatives to these additives, which have also been found to be comparably more cost-efficient for farmers.
The agency discovered through a lot of research and data generated that antibiotics residue in animal products is a challenge to us in this country. And because of that, to enhance rational use of antibiotics in the livestock sector, the agency put up a policy that antibiotics should not be used in animal feed production as growth promoter. And this has been re-echoed time and time again. In the last time we had stakeholders virtual workshop, this was re-echoed and this reason was put forward. Not that antibiotics cannot be used in livestock production, but is not allowed to be used as growth promoter because of the residue, the challenges of residue that will pose to us. And alternative profile for this are probiotics and prebiotics, then organic acid.
So other items that are additives that are banned in animal feed production is antibiotics and gentle violets. Gentle violets and antibiotics are usually used as a mold inhibitor so that when they add it to the feed, it will prevent mold to grow on the feed and thereby reducing the risk of a production of mycotoxin in the feed so that the mycotoxin level of the feed will not be so high above threshold. However, we discovered that because of antimicrobial resistance, antibiotics are no longer allowed for use as mold inhibitor, and gentle violets are equally not allowed for use because of the carcinogenic risk that it poses to the animal and invariably to man. So the alternative available for that is basically organic acid. A very good example is propionic acid, which has been found to be very effective, cost-effective, and very readily available.
This weight is very, very important, cut across the human, animal, and environment. So therefore, I really call on the general public to listen to their health personnel, professional, healthcare givers on the advices they were given on the prudent and responsible use of these antimicrobials in order to prevent the future problem about this antimicrobial resistance.
Yes, come in.
Uncle.
Tayo.
Yes, sir.
Welcome.
Thank you very much, sir. It's good to see you. Where's Junior and his mom?
Uncle T, we are here.
Mama.
Junior, quick. Go get your uncle some alcohol from Auntie Carol's shop.
No, Junior. Please go sit. Don't you know that sending Junior to go buy this kind of drinks could instill in him the urge to drink alcohol at this tender age? Children under the age of 18 should abstain from alcohol. No, Uncle, please. Give me the money. I'll go buy it by myself.
I didn't know that.
But I told you.
NAFDAC says alcohol is a no-go area for children under the age of 18.
I will never send him on such an errand again.
It is the business of all of us, parents, guardians, marketers and retailers, to stop underage drinking of alcohol in our society. Join us today.
This message is brought to you by Distillers and Blenders Association of Nigeria, NAFDAC, and the Federal Ministry of Health.
This is where we draw the curtain on the program today. Join us again next week, same time, same station, as we bring you another insightful edition. Remember, safeguarding the health of the nation is our collective responsibility. So report fake and unwholesome food and drugs and activities that create them in your area. You may have questions, comments, or inquiries. Kindly contact us. You can reach NAFDAC via toll-free numbers. For inquiries, call 0700 162 3322. For complaints, call 0800 162 3322. You may also email NAFDAC at nafdac.gov.ng. If you have complaints about any form of misconduct, you can reach the Reforms Unit via email reforms@nafdac.gov.ng or call the Reforms hotlines on 0909 763 0506 or 0909 763 0507. NAFDAC, customer focused, agency minded. Till next week, stay safe.